This is the Bar Stewards Enquiry.
Right? You're talking absolute rubbish. Absolute rubbish.
In what way?
You were an underachiever in life. I saved your bacon one time. You were gone.
You handled that well. I couldn't save you. But you did the right thing.
But that's why you don't know anything about racing, John.
I didn't say I do.
Right?
I'm saying that...
What have you contributed to racing? You're one of these take-out merchants. Take out all you can.
Good evening and welcome to the Bar Stewards Enquiry Weekend Podcast, where we've got a very, very busy show for you indeed. We've got the Irish 2000 Guineas, we've got Haydock, we've got Goodwood, we've got TV races at York, the whole works, and we've got our best bets coming forwards right now. And joining me is my superstar panel, which is John Lang. Good evening, John.
Hello.
Are you bouncing after Lionel today?
Well, I'm dancing on the ceiling.
Yeah, I wish I was today. I can honestly say my punting is, if someone offered me 15 minutes with my ball sack in a vice at maximum pain threshold, I'd probably take that over what I've lost today. So
some people like that.
so that's my stance on this on today's proceedings.
I'm extra for that.
Good evening to you, sir. Welcome back to the show.
Evening, Lee. Evening, all.
Yeah. We hope you've got some big bullets for us. And last and certainly not least is superstar trainer and professional punter Neville Ender. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes. Right. Okay, chaps. We're going to get straight on with it, and we'll go to our best bets. And hopefully we'll carry on our good form. I think we're doing quite well. We're 30% return on investment as all tipsters on Bar Stewards so far. So we're fiddling the prices, of course, but that's what we do. Got to fiddle. Everyone loves a good fiddle of the prices. I mean, it's not like price-wise and everything else. Anyway, third best bets. John Lang, you're bouncing after Lionel today, so I'm coming to you first today.
Right, okie doke. My third best bet is Bastille in the 220 at York. People will remember me flagging this one up after its debut. Happy Tim hasn't done the horse any favours since, running it at very sharp, undulating tracks that haven't suited it. I think on a galloping track here, handicap debut, he's probably got maybe £5 more than expected, but I think this is worth a pot against some fairly exposed types on a galloping track. He's got a nice enough draw, and I'm happy to rock along with him here. I think we'll see a very much improved performance.
So Bastille, a stall 3 draw for John. That's probably going to play in the horse's favour, I think. That's where you sort of want to be centre-ish, or has been at York. So are you happy? Do you say you're going each way, John?
All in for Corbin. Straight win.
All in, straight 1 point win. And we're going to give you the 22s with Denise Kurtz.
Lovely.
Stoke-on-Trent.
Denise, friend of the show.
Yep. Yeah, it'd be nice if she sponsored the show. 22s Bastille for John. 1 point win there in the 220 at York. Thank you, John. Neville Ender, I'm coming to you for probably an Irish 2000 Guineas bet, maybe.
Probably not, no. We'll come to the Guineas later on, no doubt. Well, my hands are quite not literally tied, but I do stick to the jumps.
Yes.
And there's not a great deal to go on this weekend. It's either Fakenham on Sunday, which is a pretty moderate card, or Stratford on tomorrow evening. And it's Stratford that I've been doing all my homework upon. And my third best bet is in the 7:30 at Stratford. And it's a horse that I'm not convinced he wants to go on the turf. All his form on the flat is on the all-weather, but he's been sent hurdling, and he's gotten off quite a good mark, I feel, off 92. Crimson King in the 7:30 at Stratford is my third best bet. He's been running in far better company than what he'll encounter tomorrow night. And 3 or 4 last runs on the flat have been good. He's been running to marks of around mid-70s. Well, when you consider he's running off 92 over hurdles, and they've upped him in trip to 2 miles and 6 furlongs tomorrow evening. He was basically a stayer on the flat. The opposition is so poor, it is very difficult to even get any enthusiasm from his rivals. So I'm going to take a chance that he will go on the turf. I'm certainly not convinced that he's as good on turf as he is on the all-weather, but the ground's going to be good. He's got very little in opposition, and I've got a feeling that he could be a reasonable price. He certainly won't be favourite. Crimson King, my third best bet, 7:30 at Stratford.
Good stuff. So 1 point win for Nev. That's 3-1 available again.
Oh, 3-1.
I'm sorry, Nev. Carpet. I mean, do you remember the other week, Nev? Your nap. It was tremendous. Your nap.
He drifted right out, didn't he?
Yeah, 7-4. Nev says that's a great price. If Nev says something's a great price at 7-4, seriously, this is. We
Racing Post betting forecast. I've got Crimson King at 6-1.
Yeah. And well, I know
they're not laying that, but that's there.
No, but I mean, so Nev said 7-4 for this horse in Ireland. It bolts up about 7.92 Betfair SP. Bolts up, absolutely bolts up.
Yeah, I know.
Neville's won 47,000.
I took massively into the ice.
Absolutely, and this is what I'm saying. Listeners on this show should listen to Neville if he says something. It's value at a short price. Never.
I don't often say that though. So
no, you don't. Exactly. It's a tip in itself. So Crimson King for Nev kicks things off at 3-1 for the 7:30 at Stratford. For you wrist litters that's had a bad day, you can go to Nev for Stratford advice, and hopefully it'll get us all out of trouble tomorrow after we've done our plums. That's the bar steward's tactics for this weekend. Okay, Quentin, coming to you for your third bet.
My third best bet was going to be Bastille at York, but I'm going to go with a different Happy Tim horse and put up Northcliffe in the 407 at York. He caught the eye on debut at first on soft ground, ended up further back than ideal, kept on. He's been shaping like 6 furlong with suit, similar at Hamilton last Sunday, I think it was 2 Sundays ago, slightly slowly away on the back foot, ended up off the rail, which hasn't been a bad thing at Hamilton, but in 2-year-old race, I'd much rather horses have a rail. Kept on, stayed on well enough. The form and time have a solid look to it, with Spirit of Xanadu winning very well and a good time at Redcar the other day. A few in the race I don't like. Looking for Linda, won well, poor time at Nottingham. Raced against, I think it was 4 or 5 newcomers that were green as grass. Brad Zeal's price tripled as a 2-year-old, but Happy Tim knows the family well and a damn jet to throw a winner. They're 15-2 in a place, it seems fair enough. Draws are nagging out in 10, but I think the price overcompensates for it.
Yeah, good stuff. I like the step up in trip for that, Quentin. I've got a note saying it wants 6 furlongs, and Tim obviously left it a bit short on debut. Is the paddock note, so 15-2 available. The draw is the one query. Obviously, Quentin would be screaming about this if this was drawn probably a bit lower, as York tends to play. But that's not the be all and end all. 15-2 for Quentin for his 1 point win bet in the 407. Thank you very much, sir. Okay, I'll go to my third best bet, and it goes in the 255 at York, which is the 5 furlong sprint, decent sprint handicap. My 1 point win here goes on Alligator Alley, formerly trained by the baby Joseph, got an injury, went to David O'Mara, has been building up fitness and has shaped really well on both starts. And like I said, I think draw again could be key here. I do like the stall again for Alligator Alley. I think that's a key race last time at York. That's a real key form race, really strong form. I know Jawal's running. He's in stall 1, but this is not Jawal's track over 5. York tends to be a breakout and roll kind of track, and I don't think Jawal's patient tactics is suited to York at all. I think he's going to be better probably at Doncaster, somewhere like that. So yeah, Alligator Alley, I think, and it's third run off a layoff as well. Bearing in mind sprinters often take some warming up and getting into form, and I do think he possibly needed both starts. I know there was confidence behind the horse last time out at York, but I always feel that sprinters just take some warming up into peak form, and I think this third run off a layoff angle for Alligator Alley is probably big for O'Mara and Jason Watson book. So that's where my 1 point win goes at 9-2. Okay, I'll start us again. I'll start us all again for the 2-pointer. Kind of makes sense. Going to go to the 2 o'clock at Haydock to carry on my blogger
My second best bet comes at Goodwood in the 13.45, the 3-year-old 7 furlong handicap. It's not really much I like in the race, to be honest. Gisborne is the one that the pin has fallen on. He's got the ground there's, I think it's an issue everywhere. There's a bit of rain forecast all over the country, but it's, what did you have it on times today, Lee? Good to soft in places, that sort of thing? Yeah,
after the first, but having said that, the first 2-year-old today has clocked a really good figure. I said good to soft after the first 2-year-old, thinking, well, it's a 2-year-old. But the round track certainly rode quite slow. So I would say good to soft in places, Quentin. So is that what you agree with? Sort of?
Yeah, that's what I had it say, and I think it'll dry up overnight. Probably it will. You're probably looking good to soft, maybe good to soft, good in places tomorrow come the race, but it should be fine for Gisborne. His best form comes with cutting the ground. You got several horses here who don't really have decent form. River Pride, big effort at HQ, but had the benefit. The rail War in Heaven looks tricky. My Dabari, very much an all-weather page. I don't think they came stand side in the latter races today, but I don't think that'll be the case early on tomorrow. Got a nice draw in 4. He should bounce him out and sit handy. Physically, he looks one that will do well from 2 to 3, and he did well at Newbury to win coming off the pace, given the fractions weren't too strong. I'm pretty sure he's got a bit more upside, given he'll handle the ground. 6-1, I think he is. Seems more than fair. I can see that shortening up, given ground doubts about many others in the race.
Yep, 6-1 Gisborne for Quentin for his 2 points win with Denise Kurtz again, friend of the show. So yeah, so that's a nice bet. Quentin, any fears that about the 7 furlongs? Are you okay with that?
He's related to a load of sprinters, but he shaped on his last start that 7 would suit. He's by Ribchester, obviously a miler. He's not keen and free in his race. I've got no issues at all, especially I can't see them running it as an out gallop, given it's Goodwood. So no issues at all this end.
Good stuff. Okay, thank you for that, Quentin. Neville, I'm coming to you.
Well, we're staying at Stratford. It's in the 8:30 race, Greystoke, trained by the champion dual-purpose trainer Alan King. This horse goes in his first handicap. He's only had 3 runs over hurdles, which you can almost guarantee that there will be more improvement to come. So rated 104 is an extremely fair rating. I wouldn't say he's ran above that mark so far, but he certainly ran to around 104. But when you consider his ability from the level, when he was running to marks of just beneath 80, it does give him plenty to play with. You would feel I've always felt as if £50 add to the flat rating to get the hurdle rating. So there's quite a little bit of improvement to come there. And he looked extremely novice on his opening couple of starts over hurdles. Even when he won the other day at Newton Abbot, he looked like he still had a bit of learning to do. But he won well. It wasn't a great race, but that wasn't his fault that those behind him were not able to take him to carry to a higher mark. He was a useful performer for Mick Shannon. They paid 45 grand for him off the flat. He's a fresh horse, and at this time of year for jumpers, that's certainly a huge pointer in his favour. The opposition don't look very good. Scudamore, who heads the weights, has been beaten in claiming company, and those beneath him look fully exposed. I thought Grandee might be one that could challenge him, as he was a useful performer in his younger days, but they do seem to make him a non-runner every time he runs. Every time he's entered, he seems to be a non-runner. But that's typical of Susie Best, and when her husband was training, I think they used to have more non-runners than Richard Guest used to have. I think Greystoke will probably win, and he'll probably take this on the way to better things. So he would be my second best bet in a pretty poor race.
So that's good stuff, Greystoke. So are you happy, Nev, with the 9-4 with William Hill?
No.
No.
About 5-1, I thought would be it. But we'll have to take 9-4.
If ever any of you have used a Kelly staking plan or anything like that, what you do with Nev is, if Nev says he likes 5s, that means it should be about 7-4. So that's you have to get used to that.
That
so,
9-4 is probably at 120% they're betting to it, though, isn't it?
Well, Nev, when it goes off 5-4 hammered and wins 7 hard on the steel, this 5-1 it's seeming,
It's acceptable, just about.
Yeah. We're gonna get a Bastard's Neville price scale when he says and it kind of works. But 9-4 for Nev Greystoke. Good luck, Nev, with your 2 points.
Okay.
John Lang.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My second best bet of the day. I'm sticking at York, and we're in the 5:15. And this one, many people's favourite tipple. I'm going with Jack Daniel. The key to this one, he ran really well at Redcar the first time up this year. After probably not landing on the best of marks, because Declan tends not to have first time out winners, but this did win first time out for him last year. He caught the eye very much, I thought. Travelled like a nice sort of horse, considering he's out with a damn silly mare. And the ground was probably just soft enough for him at Redcar that day. And he got a bump just after the 3 pole, lost his position a bit and dropped right back, and then kept on again at the finish. And the note was he lost his right foreshoe in the process. The form could hardly be working out better. Il Bandito, the winner, has since come out and won at York. He didn't win by far, but for me, the race won a long way out. Scottish Summit's run well at Doncaster since. Moss Bourne was made favourite for the Il Bandito race at York, but ran unaccountably badly. But Muttanasek, who was 4th, has had 2 stinking rides, to be honest. Finished 4th both times, I think. So the form's pretty good as it stands before you even start making excuses for Jack Daniel. He's got plenty of early. He's got a nice middling draw, which I think in a field this size over the 7 at York's good. Happy enough with this 1-2 points win.
Good stuff. And it's a big price, this one, folks. It's a lovely price. 16-1 generally available everywhere. Mm-hmm. Everywhere you like. For Declan Carroll as well, 16-1.
Friend of the show.
So so Declan Carroll, friend of the show, he follows us, John. And after the revelations that were released on Sunday, I will say no more on that. Good old Declan. Hope you do well there with your second choice, Jack Daniel, which I've certainly had. 1 or 2 of those. Okay, then we'll move on. We'll move on to max bets. This is what punters want. They're all sat there now waiting the trick. Max bets. This is what we like. And Quentin can set the fire going. Go on, Quentin.
I'm going to set the fire going with Hilts in the 16-13 at Musselburgh. He's obviously a horse that everyone's well aware of now. He's seriously well handicapped. Did well to come off the pace in a race that's worked out at Redcar. Ground is the concern, but there's a big band of rain going across towards the Edinburgh region at the moment. He's got a nice draw in 2. Step up in trip's going to be clearly beneficial. The ground, as I said, is the issue. I think Connections will pull him if there's firm in the go, and I think they might pull him if it's just plain straight good. Given the red blobs, I think they might be on the easy side tomorrow. Nice inside draw, pace with the Johnston horses. 3 points win, 7-2.
Yep, and it's obviously one of Quentin's followers that highlighted at the start of the season in our 5 to follow, and absolutely one with buckets full in hand at Redcar, despite not getting the cleanest of runs and etc. 7-2 for Quentin. Good luck with that, mate. I'd like you say, if it gets the rain, it should run very big indeed. Okay, thank you for that. Nev Ender, I'm coming to you for your very best.
Okay, the nap selection it's at Stratford in the 8 o'clock, and it's a horse that finally got his head in front over fences last time out, Darwin, who is now in the care of Warren Greatrex, having previously raced for somebody else. Used to run in Trevor Hemming's colours. I can't remember who used to train him, but he's had 7 or 8 goes at chasing, but it all came together last time in a race at Foss Lass. And the race at Foss Lass, it didn't look anything special at the time, but it's worked out tremendously well. He beat Premier de Toise, who has fallen down the handicap and looked well handicapped that day, and he beat that horse pretty comprehensively. Prior to that, he finished second to a horse of Bill Turner's called Morettimo, who had won his previous race. Penny for a Pound, who had finished third, had won his previous race. Longshanks, who finished fourth, had won his previous race. Rookie Trainer, who finished fifth, has gone on to win since, as has the 6th horse, Downtown Getaway. So the form's working out really well. Again, as I said earlier on, when I was talking about Greystoke, you need informed horses at this time of year because a lot of them have been on the go a long time and are training off. It's a soft-looking race. Henry Brook is back riding. I noticed that he rode a winner at Worcester this evening, and he's aboard. I think he's got a lot going for him. Off 125, all right, he wouldn't be an absolute shoo-in off that mark, but he comes into it in the form of his life, and I think he'll win. I think 3 mile 3 will play to his strengths, and he looks a good bet. Darwin in the 8 o'clock at Stratford.
Nev, this looks tremendous actually, because I mean you've got Tom Georgian, forgot to ask, 10-year-old, looks incredibly exposed. Yeah. Ask a Honeybee, that's the Jimmy White of horse racing. Danny Whizbang, it's.
There isn't a lot in the races when you go through the opposition.
No. So if I tell you the price now, are you going to get excited? 2-1 with Denise Coates.
Not really, no. Is it all 2-1?
To get Nev excited, you need the Irish one at Cork the other week. But Darwin for Nev at 2-1 with the Denise Coates firm, it's probably an 11-8 chance, folks. That's how it is. Nev wants a bit of 9-2.
It's great to have Henry Brook back as well, isn't it?
Yeah, Henry Brook, great jockey, and like Nev says, informed, yep, and absolutely the right race as well. With a lot of runners in here with a lot of doubts about them looking through it. So 8 o'clock at Stratford. That's the bet when we're all fucked after a really bad day of betting on flat scrap all day. Nev's going to get us out in the 8 o'clock at Stratford. That's it. And Golf Club, if you're listening, that's the one that'll get you your Chinese. Darwin in the 8 o'clock at Stratford. Cheers. Okay then. We're running down to me and John for our best bets. I'm going to go first to leave you last, John, because I'm going to be a wanker. And this is what it's all about. It's all about annoying people and putting bets up that really, and making people pissed off. And this is in the 125 at Haydock. It's a split staker for me, and I'm very, very confident. I've got high confidence in this. It's not obvious. The first one is what's the Wi-Fi code? Ridden by Tony Coyle, trained by Tony, not ridden, I hope. Tony Coiler, the Coiler of Malton. What an idiot he is. I mean, he the horse absolutely bounds up at Doncaster on reappearance. Absolutely pisses up. Beats one Pip's Pride that's won, I think, a couple since, or has won and placed since.
You know who owns that, though, Pip's Pride?
I do, but I'm not going to mention it on the show. I actually do. It's good. It's strong form, is that? And then, so what does the Coiler do? He takes it to Ripon twice. Oh. The first time, right, he doesn't handle the track. The first time it hit the rail, it was all over the place, didn't know what it was doing, as if to say, what the hell are these undulations? And then, so what does he do? He goes there again. And he's held up out the back, makes late ground, shapes like the best horse in the race. Coiler, what are you doing? But he's done the right thing now. This is the right thing to do, Coiler. You've done it. You've put Johnny Pate on board. This is absolutely mustard at 6-1. If you want an each way bet, and someone's paying 4 places, well, if you want to be really flimpy, how is this out the 4? It won't be. It literally has got an outstanding chance. Will improve on the Ripon runs substantially. So 6-1's massive. That's the first part of the split stake wanker bet. 1.5 points win, and the second one, 1.5 points win, is Lon Clume at 12-1. Trained by Daniel Kubler, not a friend of the show, slagged us off on Twitter once for abusing him, and rightfully so. Yeah, he was right. Nicola Curry is in the saddle, which, whatever. But Long Clume has shaped extremely well on the all-weather, and Long Clume managed to win a 1.5 mile maiden at Kempton, and then wasn't disappointing last time, despite the finishing position. People will think, well, that's a poor run in fourth. It looks quite exposed. They went no pace. Long Clume was sort of held up off it, and Jack Mitchell was very, very tender on Long Clume in the closing stages. I like that. I like to see that. No chance of winning. If he'd have been hard on the horse could have finished very, very close, I'm sure, but or sort of like on the heels of the leaders without winning. But he just thought, no, what's the point? So he just eased off. I like that, and they've saved this for another day. The mother was a half sister, believe it or not, to Whipper and Divine Proportions. This is serious breeding on the dam side, and this horse has got a lot of progression in it. So Long Clume. For me, for the Kublers, they're very good off absences at getting them ready as well. So 12-1 is my other split stake, 1.5 points win. So there we go. That's my wanker bet. At least it's not obvious anyway. John, coming to you for your best bet.
An awful lot of good praises with Denise Coates this weekend, isn't there?
Yes.
You have to be saying, get your knickers off, Denise. We're going in dry. And I don't know how to follow your audition to be Tony Coyle's race planner, like. I'm sure he'll be on the phone to Jason in the back.
Yes.
Asking for an email ID or something. Anyway, Lee, you can get your klaxon ready. Because it'll be no surprise to anyone that I'm going 3 points win in the 4:13 at Muffy. And all over helps.
Bang.
They should have run at York, he'd have won, but they decided to take him out and go here. I've had a look at this race. There's only been 2 previous run-ins. Both were won by hold-up horses, so that's allayed any fears on that front, I think. He's better off with Zimmerman than when he beat him at Redcar. I think he was getting £4 at Redcar, and now he's getting 10. I can't have Zimmerman beating him. As for the rest, Belle of Annadale looked an absolute turd under pressure at Southall. Campesi should have got beat 3 lengths at Bath, where he sat and watched the race when the thing in the Sangster colours got the ride of all rides.
Yeah.
The handicapper has sorted Ponce Olius of the Kilts. Talking of Ponces, Charles Street looks an out-and-out Ponce. Trojan Horse had the run of things at Chester and couldn't win and has gone up for it. And State Legend's been hammered for a win in an egg and spoon at Donny. Providing the kilt, not at the shirt rather, has not had £27 up his sleeve all year while he's been bringing this thing along. We will win this, no question.
Bang! Bazooka!
Yeah.
That's the Barsters Klaxon raised as Hilt. Is a Barsters special, 7-2 lump on. Hope that's big enough for you to get involved. I think it is. I think it's a well handicapped horse, and I think Hilts will win tomorrow. I agree. I agree with both of you guys. I think it's a very well handicapped horse. Okay, we'll move on to the TV race preview section. It's very busy indeed. 11 races for you that love ITV. I never watch ITV. I have to get all the gossip off John and everyone else that says, do you hear what he said or she said, or that's how we do sermons. I get gossip. Okay, we'll go to the 125 at Haydock, and I've tipped in this, so I've got to sit this one out. Any thoughts on this, chap?
My notes on the French spelling, the Dan Klubler horse, did well to get as close as she did last time out. Not hard pressed at all. More to come, likely going to drop. Psy very good on soft ground, and Dan winner on soft also. If it rains, I'll be a backer of her. I'm not too keen on her on rattling fast, but you said earlier it's raining there. It was raining at the last race.
Yeah.
If there's any sort of dig in the ground, then I'll be all over her tomorrow. Screaming Petrus, that's, as I said, 2 weeks ago, I think it's a fucking hound. High head carriage, ran into rail at Wolverhampton and didn't really look to have learnt much. That Ascot, for all it drops in grade, I'm all over the Kubler horse. Providing the ground proviso.
Yeah. To be honest, I mean, like, if you look at Glen Eagles, the sire anyway, he does quite well on quicker ground as well. I think he's quite a good sire. He's just all weather. I think Glen Eagles and all weather is like really poor. It's something like 0.89.
Extra over expected.
Yeah. So I think the switch to any kind of turf will do for Glen Eagles. But I take your point, because the mother did win on soft, and I would probably more comfortable if there was a little bit of cut in the ground. But yeah, thanks, Quentin. John, Neville?
I can't add anything to what's already been said on this race, in all honesty.
No, I can't really. I agree that I didn't think what's the Wi-Fi code handled Ripon at all, but I'd be very unsure as to whether he wants to go this far in softening ground.
Yeah, I suppose if the ground does come up soft, the trip is the doubt. Like you, Nev, I'd have preferred if this was 10 probably for what's the Wi-Fi code, but I don't see 12 as a hindrance if Pate gets him in the right spot, just travelling and just held up like he's rode him at Ripon, really.
Just on the point of naming horses, I remember when this horse ran first time for Coiler, and I couldn't believe somebody had called a racehorse "What's the Wi-Fi code?" It's a shit name.
It is, isn't it? It is. It's a bit like, what should we call this? And it's like someone said at the dinner party. They're all having a dinner party. You can just see it. What's the Wi-Fi code, Mildred?
Apparently they named it because it was a syndicate that owned it to start with, and all the people in the syndicate offered the names, and this one came out as the out the hat as a lucky name, but it's a shite name.
Dreadful name. I agree with that. Terrible from Connections. 2 o'clock Haydock. That's the two I've tips in this. I've got to stay quiet. Any views on this, chaps?
I thought all right. Sunshine had a decent chance. He goes very well here. Well capable of this sort of mark. He'd go for me in a fairly open race.
Yeah, Kenny Dalglish. Obviously couldn't beat that well handicapped enemy that enemy thing that ran at Musselburgh that nearly won the. Was it Sagaro? It nearly won after that enemy.
It was Sagaro.
Yeah, got a trouble trip on the rail. Yeah, absolutely solid off that mark, John.
I think if you're playing in running, you might just keep an eye on Miranda, because she has looked very dodgy at the start, and with some stalls, she might just refuse to race completely. Yeah. That's just on the point of in running. If you're looking to
get those drone pictures out, boys, tomorrow. the drones are key tomorrow.
They refuse to race tomorrow with Posh Megan sat atop.
You know, when you see stall 3 open and it's the Hamlet Cigars advert, that's when Nev's in taking.
I thought Valley Forge looked quite interesting because it won the Melrose, didn't it, last year for Andrew Balding, and was a good third in a race that's worked out well subsequently.
Do you think it's looked an absolute bastard since that Melrose?
Yeah, I was a bit disappointed with its debut run this season, but it wasn't beaten that far. Or maybe, I'd be willing to give any horse, one.
I was really impressed with it in the Melrose.
Yeah.
I just think it's been awful since.
Yeah.
I honestly thought it was one to follow out the Melrose, but...
The handicap has only given it £1 back since it's in three, I suppose 3 below par runs. It's only been dropped £1, but it wouldn't surprise me if it came back to form or showed a lot of improvement. But it's a hot race. I mean, as you said, the Charlie Appleby horse is certainly improving. Could be anything. Could be anything.
I was with Valley Forge. Kind of, again, the weather, I'd be against it if the rain did come. I obviously wonder where Melrose clocked a big figure there. Form looks fine. Haydock, the race just wasn't run to suit. They crawled, they lobbed around, and David Pro would give it a poor one, to be honest. Ascot, reasonable excuse, soft ground. He just shaped like needing it at Newmarket for me. Kind of made up a bit of ground, traded 2 to 1 in the run, and just blew up. I didn't mind him. I still think there's upside off of 89 based on the Melrose run. Soft ground, I don't think he wants it. I think he wants at least good ground. So it's going to be a sit, wait and play. Well, probably right before I decide what I'm doing on the race. But Bandinelli, I think you had said you'd liked him for the Yebor earlier in the year when he won on your weather.
I did. He's in the plate at the moment. That's the mid-season target anyway. The plate.
Well, he's got the all-weather form for it, hasn't he? So is he? What price is he for the plate?
8.
Fair.
He'd get a penalty though, wouldn't he, if he won this?
Don't know how it works, to be honest. It's terrible. Me advising anti-post bets, and I don't know how it works. I don't know if you get penalties or not. Don't know.
I think you would get a penalty. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is with Bandinelli, the problem is with Bandinelli, he's not going to win this by more than 3/4 of a length. In fact, if you play the spreads and you're doing the old, and if you fancy Bandinelli to win, he won't win this far because he never does. He gets there and he grinds, and if something comes to him, he finds that bit more, and he'll win by a neck, half a length. That's what he does. And my advice,
these Dubaris are they're so tough.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the. I advise any running punters tomorrow. If you sort of turn in it, sort of 3 out, Bandinelli will probably be. He will be in the van, and if he takes it up or he's in front, and and there's something travelling upsides him, look for big prices Bandinelli because he won't stop. It's just a case of that's how he is. He's a deep grinder, deep fried grinder. He's Bandinelli. So that's the advice there. You're all wrong. Bandinelli wins. 2:35 Haydock, Silver Bowl time. 13 to 8 Fav is a Slim and Towser with a Colombian kid on board in Mighty Ulysses. Any thoughts on this, chaps?
Yeah, we're a wretched combination of our favourites.
Well, you're about Saeed Sahel, John. It's the man that's keeping Michael Stout alive.
We can go with the blue and yellow, but I don't know. I saw this win, I think it was Newmarket last time, and I couldn't even put my finger on it, but there was something about it that sort of went against the grain with me. And I watched it back a couple of times. I can't really articulate what it was that I didn't like what I saw, but I certainly couldn't take anything away about this tonight. I know it's got all the entries going forward.
St James's Palace?
Yeah. They obviously think it's a good horse. There's just something nagging at me that I think it might have all in it. And I couldn't for the life of me tell you what it is, but I'm avoiding. I'll probably go with Mr. Wilson as a HW alternative and hope the Cromwell carrot to kick in.
Quentin, Neville, any view?
Mighty Ulysses. He obviously didn't stay in the Blue Ribbon trial, which has worked out well. It's a big gangly sort of thing, and he travels nice through his way. I'm concerned they've taken the hood off, to be honest. Had the hood on last time out. It seemed to do the trick. Yeah, I've got nagging doubts about him. I didn't mind Dirty Old Town. Wide draws.
I bet you didn't.
Royal Mile at Musselburgh's worked out well. A few winners down the field. Atrium won a good time at where was it? Ascot. Desert Angels come out and won. I think last Curragh placed second on the all weather yesterday. He was quick away that day. Got on the rail, but set a fair pace. I think he's overpriced a shade at double figures. Yeah, that'll be my way into the race.
Okay, Dirty Old Town for Grant. Can't beat a Dirty Old Town. Quentin, Neville.
That's Molten.
It's a good song. Pogues made it.
Is that Molten, Neville? Dirty Old Town.
Yes, maybe. Yeah, it's a shit out. Some parts. Yeah. It would be the first time that Gosden has put a good horse in a handicap. He did that with that Champion Mile, didn't he? Ran it at Newcastle and then won the St James's Palace.
Yes.
It makes the market. Yes, that's the one. Yeah, it makes the market for everything else, doesn't it? It's going to take 40% out of the market. I don't know. If it was evens, I'd probably lay him.
Yeah.
But I do think he'll probably win. I think if he's a genuine Group 3, Group 2, or Group 1 horse, he's going to take some beating off 101, isn't he? But it looks a good race. Ben Ladders today is a very talented jockey. I know he's got his quirks, but so too have most jockeys. But claiming £5, it takes him down to a workable mark, isn't it? 9 stone 4.
Yeah, 96. I'm a Mighty Ulysses fan as long as there's not too much rain in the ground. That Cape, yes, we need it. We need some balance on the show. You lot are tipping massive prices, and yeah, we need me to hoist the flag.
If you were sure, let's say you started a silly price at 4 to 5, you'd take him on, wouldn't you?
Of course, yeah. 13 to 8. If I'm a bookmaker at the track, I'm about that price. For statistical players, the inside draws at Haydock over the mile are no good, which is what put me off the Irish horse. It is really bad. The inside draws on the round track at Haydock are really bad. You do your stats. For some reason, I know it's like pear shaped. It's a Haydock bends out, doesn't it? I think for the mile and 2 races, but even for the 7 furlong mile races, the inside draws really suffer. Now, whether that's because they go too hard into the bends and you end up getting chopped for room, and on the inside you have to take a pull if you don't lead, etc.
This horse will take a lead, though. It might, Ulysses.
It will. I mean, it's in stall 9. I mean, Mr. Wilson, I'm on about for the inside draw with Aidan Keeley on board. He might have the Irish carrots. Who knows? But like I said, I'm not a layer of 13 to 8 Mighty Ulysses. I'm bloggering that one. Selfie stick and all. 310 Haydock. Sandy Lane, the Group 2 affair. Go Bears Go. Reappeared and did really well, I felt, because everyone worried if it had trained on. Even the trainer didn't know if it had trained on. He actually said, I don't know if this trained on. It pissed up. 9 to 4 favourite. Thoughts here, chaps?
Well, I'll start off. I think Go Bears Go's got the best form, but I think there might be something in there that will have more scope. Which could match it. I don't think I'd be rushing to take the prize, but I could see it winning, but I could also see a few others winning as well.
I thought it was impossible, to be honest. There's a few in there I don't like. You got the Go Bears Go form errors, kind of half-franked that Newbury last week. I went backwards and forwards trying to find something at a bigger price. But I kind of think the market's not far off. I think the market's in line. There's nothing jumping out as overpriced for me.
No. Jump.
I think if you put a gun to my head, I'd probably say Flaming Red was quite a solid each-way poke. I think that one's got just about as good a chance as Go Bears Go on the figures. And first one's all right, but I'm not getting over bet.
No, me neither on that, to be honest. Nothing I can add really to what you've all said. 3:45 is the Cazoo Temple Stakes that should be at Sandown. It's a sacrilege. They've took it away from Sandown. They brought it to Kirkland Tell wrong strike. What's going on here?
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's obviously just clicked into me. don't like the favourite, to be honest. Forms at York, Easterby's have been needing it. I don't think she's going to be cherry ripe for this. Last Crusader was the one that interested me at near double figures, but that seemed to have disappeared. As now you're now looking at 8.15 to 2. It was obviously massive on the clock at York last time out. I want to believe it, but there's something like kind of John with the Gosden thing. There's something in my head that says don't believe it. York can occasionally throw up funny times on the straight track, and there's something in my head saying don't believe it. So I'm not going to believe it now. The prices, the double figures has disappeared. That was the one that was interesting at double figures if it reappears.
Good stuff, mate. John, I see Anthony's not missing a trick with this.
No, great deal of relief for Monday fans worldwide. Actually, he's not missing in action. He's actually back for his regular weekend turnout. Funnily enough, this race, if I could have had 4 bets this week, I would have been having one in this. I think there's some serious pace on here, and this is the best opportunity Arecibo has had since he ran in the King's Stand last year. The horse loves dropping in and coming late off a searing pace. He'll get that here. The track just about lends itself to a hold-up ride over 5. Probably wouldn't be as good as Donny or Ascot, but it's getting there. I think Winter Powers was probably a liability first time out for Tim over this somewhat stiffer track than York. Last Crusader, I tend to share Quentin's view that York did look too good to be true, because if you take that literally, probably the pick of the weight even. So yeah, Arecibo, I think as an each way bet at 28 to 1, I think is tremendous value to money.
Good stuff. Love a price. Filthy Rosser in the play as well. Yes. So yeah, fingers crossed for that. That's a good shout. That kind of like that. Got some pieces of form last year that would make it very competitive.
That King's Stand second, there's nothing wrong with that at all. You know. No. After that, he's run some awful places, held up where he's had absolutely no chance.
Yeah. No. Good shout. Nev, anything to add?
I've been impressed by Twilight Calls when he wins, but when he gets beaten, it looks like he's nothing. He isn't a group horse, but on his wins, he's looked very good. If the ground came up soft, it probably would be against him. But I think he's better than his last run.
Yeah, wrong part of the track last time.
Yeah, he seemed to be a bit out on a wing, and he didn't have anything really to race with at Newmarket. Whether he's Group 2 would be questionable. Winter Power, I think he's without doubt just the class horse of the race, without shadow of a doubt. But Haydock on slowing ground might just be a bit too much for a first time out, because you can imagine that Tim Easterby's not going to have a 100% first time, and some of these other horses have had runs. So I don't know. It's not a race that really. It's a race to watch and enjoy rather than get involved for me.
Yeah. Do you think maybe like Twilight Calls likes a race that falls apart? Where
maybe. I think the ground's quite important.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, no, I do like Twilight Calls improving going forward, but there we go. So it's a tough card at Haydock. It's not the easiest. We go to Goodwood for their 2 races. The first one is the 145, the William Hill Harroways Handicap, where Quentin has already tipped Gisborne, so Quentin sits lights out for Quentin. No likey, no lighty. And we're so it's me, John, and Nev to discuss this.
It's just you two, because I've got no opinion.
No opinion. Well, I'll start off at 10. Obviously, the 7 furlongs at Goodwood. The low draws are really pronounced. The stalls 1 to 5 are really good over Goodwood. For 7 it's hard to ignore. It really is. Sometimes I try and beat it and think, well, is there some no, it is. Stalls 1 to 5 is really good, and I think that's where you need to concentrate on. I do like Quentin's selection. I'm just a bit worried about the 7. Quentin's not bothered, so he's probably better than me on that. Alatabi on soft ground, I'd be very worried for Alatabi. That's the only disappointment the horse has had on ground softer than good when it ran behind Canonised at York on very soft ground. I think that's that's the big worry for John Goslin's horse, that he's currently favourite. I do like the horse. It pulls itself up in front. I think it's well weighted off 89, but I do think that, as I said, the soft ground is a huge, even though it's drying, it's a huge worry for me. John, any views?
Yeah, I think Mr. Hannon's been shuffling his change in his pocket, and he doesn't know his balls from his cock at the moment. It's a bit strange, this. It made all over 7 at Salisbury, and then I put a bet in for it over 6 at Newmarket when there appeared to be a bit of a pace bias. Dropped him a furlong, and they went and held him up. And I was a bit flabbergasted at that. But he ran really well off a dropped-in run, and I get the impression this horse might be improving, and they haven't quite cottoned onto that yet. Because I thought that was an improvement on the win at Salisbury, believe it or not, because his track position, I think he did very well from where he was. And I think he can take another step forward here. I think 15-2 is quite big.
I agree on form. I think the second Tari 3 that was second Swinger at Tour is really good form.
Yeah, the way they rode him, I think there's every reason to mark it up,
The only thing is that it's an Oasis String filly, and you just wonder about if the ground, if the ground is too soft. But it is, like Quentin said earlier on, it is going to dry, and I think that's the key. Have a look to see how much it's dried. It's hard to know with these temperatures. If it gets up to 20 odd degrees, and you might dry it out quite quickly. So, but I like the form angle, John, and I think you're right.
I think it's ours to keep an eye on no matter what, because I think it's going the right way.
I think physically as well. I like it physically.
No, that's our typical Hammond type, really.
Good shout. Okay, second race at Goodwood is the Festival Stakes. 9-2 Majestic Dawn heads the market. I think this horse is a bit of an enigma. If this horse settles on the front end and does everything right, it's a very, very good horse and will take the world of beating if it does everything right. You've only got to look at last season's form when it was second to Baybridge, beating only half a length. In fact, I can remember me and John discussing that race, thinking how good a thing Baybridge was that day. And Majestic Dawn gave it the fright of its life, and Baybridge has got some lofty entries this season. Majestic Dawn will win this if it does everything right, but that's a big ask because at Chester it boiled over and went bananas. Any thoughts, chaps?
Well, I was going to offer Brentford Hope as my selection. I'm just very concerned that the trip could be stretching his stamina. He's a class horse over a mile on soft ground, but apart from that, I think it's a pretty shit race. I don't think they're all much of a muchness, and there are quite a number of these coming on the back of below par efforts. So I'd love to see Stormy Antarctic winning, but he's another one that loves Goodwood and loves soft ground. But,
well, it is one for the older brigade, Nev. The older horses have a good record in this. I think like 6-year-olds plus have really done well over.
Well, did he? He won this last year, didn't he?
Yeah.
But he's getting old. He's a 9-year-old. There aren't that many 9-year-olds that can win in listed class, are there? But he loves the ground. He loves the course. Him and Brentford Hope would be my 2 against the field, in the hope that they don't go silly and stretch Brentford Hope's stamina.
Good stuff. Quentin, John?
I'm very interested in how Moving Time goes for Atzini tomorrow. I know the yard's in rotten form, and chances are it won't appreciate the ground being a fast-net rock. But I'm going to keep a very close eye on this one, because I think a fast-run Wolferton at Ascot could play right into this fella's hands. So I want to have a proper look at him tomorrow.
Good stuff. Listeners, keep note. Quentin?
I had absolutely no opinion at all, to be honest. Majestic Dawn did too much at Chester. There's too many queries with the ground and the weather. There's several with decent form with cutting the ground. Like John said, Moving Time's probably more top of the ground horse. So I just gave it a pass and moved on.
Good stuff. Okay, well, we've got 3 races to go. 2 at York and the Irish 2000 Guineas. So 255 York. the 5 furlong sprint handicap. I've tipped in the race, so I will sit this one out. So I'll leave it to you three.
Dreadful. No bet for me.
I was asked to go through this race by a prominent local owner a couple of years ago, because he's getting quite excited about one of his, and I honestly couldn't get £5 between the lot of these. I think a lot depends on who edges ahead early on. Unlikely, I think this might drop in Jarwell's lap, but I think it's more likely that they'll keep going. I couldn't put anybody off Alligator Alley, to be honest, off that sort of draw. I think maybe Tony Coyle's horse might make it that side, and probably Alligator Alley will be thereabouts. But if I had to have a bet, I'd probably chuck in with Show Along. I thought this one did the usual Tim trick, ran a lot better second time up, but last time was hampered at the start and looked almost back in peak form the time before. It's a nightmare race, but I think at 20-1 with a good draw and a good tag into the race from that side, I think Show Along might just pop up somewhere near about at a big price.
Yep, fifth in the old Coral Cup last year, the 3-year-old.
It's all right horse at its best. I mean, it can run well here as well, which is never a bad thing, is it?
Yep, it's closely weighted with Coyle's horse, but yeah, I agree, John. Could bounce back to form. Joe Mason, Quentin, thoughts on this?
Zargon was the one that interested me, but I had to look for it in the week. Zargon interested me. He's got that decent course form at York, not so much winning form, but the draw did for him last time out, £2 down this time, but again, he's kind of looks scuppered by the draw in 14. Alligator Alley caught the eye. Jarwell caught the eye again, but no bet for me. I'll keep an eye on Zargon for when they get better drawback here.
Quentin totally agrees. Zargon is very much one to be on. A bit of cut in the ground when it just finally gets the look of a good draw. But we'll leave it at that. 3:30 is the Bronte Cup for Fillies. 5-2 favourite, Believe in Love. Anything here, chaps?
She's opposable, isn't she? She's flopped the one start at York. Form doesn't overly amount to much. Glenarty caught my eye at Goodwood. They kind of been waiting for soft ground for her and forced their hand and ended up running on good to firm ground at Goodwood. If this rocks up with some cut in the ground, I think she's going to go close. She was behind Silence Please last time out, who admittedly was unlucky, but she got checked and was keeping on late in the day. 11-2, 6 looks fair to my eye.
Yeah, good. Interesting as well that it was struck into on its left hind on its reappearance run as well. So for Glenartney backers, and Quentin likes that. That's some plus that the horse might have not had things go right as well on reappearance. Anything else to add to this, chaps?
Yes.
Ooh. 6
miserable-looking mares with 3 wins on what's visible on the Racing Post page. If you're at York tomorrow and a bell doesn't ring in your head before this race telling you to piss off for a Charlotte's ice cream, it means somebody's nicked the fucking bell out of your head.
What's worse than 6 miserable-looking mares on a Saturday afternoon?
But lucky we're not runner.
Yeah, fair point. Never anything to top that?
No, it's a horrible race, isn't it? If you're at York and you're having it really is a bad race to get involved. If you knew Believe in Love was going to show a pre-Rolo form from last year, she'd win, wouldn't she? But she's too inconsistent. Don't like the race.
Yeah.
If you're betting in that tomorrow, Charlotte shut the ice cream stand, hasn't she? Yeah, that's the top box.
Irish 2000 Guineas, a very underwhelming contest, if I may say so. Don't get me wrong, Buckaroo's a very nice horse. Really like Buckaroo. You'll get a kick out of that if you back that. Terrible. I know. It's that time of day. But yeah.
There's Dennis.
Dusty G. You know. John, I'm more of a Dusty G than Les Dennis.
Dusty Jim, maybe.
Anyway, so Native Trail is 2-5 for the Irish Classic in what is basically a Group 3 outside of the Arabian runner. Any thoughts here, chaps?
It's surprising that Aidan O'Brien hasn't got anything else bar Ivy League to put in this race. You'd have thought he'd be mob-handed, wouldn't you? But obviously I think they're all running scared of Native Trail, and he's got so much in hand that he can afford to run £10 below his best.
Yeah.
I mean, in fact, he can, because he's rated 121, and I think the next one's rated 110 or 111.
110.
Yeah, he's got so much in hand. But why hasn't Aidan O'Brien got anything in apart from Ivy League?
Very strange. I know. Like we commented it off air, and we said if Native Trail scratched for a stone bruise or something tomorrow,
exactly. Yeah,
this would be equivalent to a Group 3.
And his Ivy League, he only won a handicap 2 races ago. It's not as if he's one of his best 3-year-olds, is it?
No. It's very odd, but I agree. I'm scratching my head at like all the talent in Ireland, in the UK, and this is what we're left with. It's whether Native Trail scared them off and they thought, well, we can't bother taking that on. Maybe that's had an effect, but still, like you said, if Native Trail scratch, it's the wealthiest Group 3 you've ever seen on the planet. Yeah, there we go. Neville, John.
It's a shocker, isn't it?
Is this let the dog in, John?
The dog will be in, definitely.
Is it taste the difference, Patty?
No, it's our one flavour. It's just Brussels horse.
Okay.
It's a texture.
Yeah.
Well, 2-5 looks fair to me, don't it? Like if you, how many times? Like you look at the race, you go, you know what? If he's been beaten 3/4 of a length on the wrong part of the track at HQ,
yes,
a track that clearly doesn't suit him. The Curragh suits better. I don't think there's anything wrong with taking 2-5 this horse.
No, I don't.
You're betting on traffic, aren't you? That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people say, when you see an odds-on chance, think, I can't say, what a ridiculous price. Like, you'd be forgiven if this went off 1.25 on the exchange.
That's what I think he'll head towards.
Would you not consider doing him in running, though? Because he always seems to come off the bridle at a relatively early stage. But
is the market cottoning on to that now?
Maybe.
He's also racing against trees, essentially. Well, not trees, but
he's going to have to
ball-shaped trees.
Underperform to make hard work of it, isn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I get it. Again, are we backers at 2-5? Yeah. If someone says, right, you've got to lay 2-5 or back at 2-5, I back at 2-5. But then my glass is half full, and I love a shorty. But yeah, I think this should be probably shorter than 2-5, to be honest. I think it's the price really to get a clean run and not have bellyache is more or less the scenario that we're left with for Native Trail. But anyway, I think that's it. That's all we can say on the Irish. I mean, 11-10 Buckaroo maybe without Native Trail, maybe something you're interested in, because Buckaroo's a nice horse. I think he's going to be really good over a mile and a quarter this season. 11-10's fair, I think, without Native Trail. But anyway, we'd rather be with Native Trail at 2-5, unless you're Neville. He wants 5s. That's all from us.
Even.
That's all from us. I hope you've enjoyed the show. We're back on Sunday to talk drugs and everything that's shady about the game. Don't miss it on Sunday. Great show. That's all from us. Bye for now.